a fact which has been puzzling me. Uh, there's a very popular website or social interaction site called TikTok, and it has billions of people on it. Of those billions, 750 million are from India. And I was really taken aback by that number. What are those 750 million people doing with TikTok? Are they just talking to each other? And I discovered that they're not. TikTok is where you just make little videos and put them up, and they're, by and large, what you would in school describe as very silly. So it's like a new way to do your hair. And you're allowed only 15 seconds to make your video can't be longer than 15 seconds. I think they've increased it a bit now, but most of them are 15 seconds. So 1 billion people watch that sort of thing. You can see how many people have seen this. And it's always in millions and millions and millions. So I made a TikTok video. I made a 15-second video on 2 magnets swinging next to each other. And I put that up. But I got 3 people who have seen it in the last 1 month, and 1 who has said she likes it. What happened to those billions then? Billions of people not interested in magnets, they're interested in hairdos, or they're interested in how to boil bratwurst in beer and eat it. Or they're into hundreds of things like that, until I realized that I don't know any of these things. And each of those things is new. And because they're new, millions of people are watching them. And some are liking them, some are not liking them. This environment didn't exist. What's your measure of success in that? What's your measure of whether you were truly creative in TikTok, or how many people liked it? That's all. Now, all I'm trying to say is that if this is an environment which seems to attract 1 billion people, mostly young, can there be an equivalent inside school? Could it be that learning is rated, collaboratively rated, is created by one of the learners, collaboratively rated by the others, and proceeds in this manner, so that the next learner now wants to make something even better than that one. And only 15 seconds. That was really brilliant. So I'm leaving that as a thought to say, when we say what should we do in school, we need to think about what world are the children in school today. It's very easy to slip back to thinking that the children are the way they were when we were young. That there's something constant about childhood. What if there isn't? What if those constants are shaking today? Then, when you say, how do I bring creativity into the curriculum? It doesn't actually mean very much. It might be better to say, what should I do differently so that I get a semblance of creativity, perhaps not even measured, but which is useful for the children's future lives. Something to that effect. I'm sure you can hear my confusion come through the whole thing, but I hope you will accept the point that the world the children are in, those fellows that you face in front of you in the classroom, that world is alien.
Yes, I wonder whether the very things that children can get from TikTok, children and young people, albeit in 15 seconds, that's definitely different from a 1-hour lesson, have certain things in common with a more creative environment. So, for example, in the classrooms that I see where I get a sense that creativity is flourishing. Children have a real sense of engagement with and control or influence over the way the lesson goes. And that's scary for some teachers and delightful for others. Oh, there's our friend Guy. How lovely to see you, Guy. A very good evening to you. So that's part of it, and I think they feel and probably are encouraged, not irresponsibly, but to take risks and therefore inevitably to make mistakes. And if you were a Martian observing that environment, you might your spirit might lift when the adults in that environment and the children in that environment asked questions to which they did not know the answer. And that would be a wholly exciting and joyful experience. I think also that, and we talked about this earlier a little bit, that the boundedness of a classroom, typically rectangular, typically inside, is the complete opposite of what you were talking about, Sugata, when children take their mind for a walk and use something like a TikTok film to say something. So you are so right. Childhood is both probably similar over the ages, but also all the things that you're saying remind us how at least the way in which it intersects with the internet is just so different, so different.
Thank you both. And I think this comes back to what I'm kind of hearing and feeling from this is a bit of what you were sharing at the beginning, Sugata, to do with how much the world has changed recently, especially, and the effect of having to flip to online learning. And I think actually we just had a training session with the Learning Pioneer Advocates this morning with a coach called James Adu, and we were talking about how due to that restriction, some schools and teachers kind of went into a very kind of fight or flight mode and just did what they could and just were trying to get through the day, basically. But some schools and classrooms and teachers, and this is what we did in Learning Pioneers, was to take the opportunity and think, we've got some space to do something differently. How can we make this really super meaningful for and with the children? And did something really quite innovative and different, which unsurprisingly was way more meaningful. The children got more from it. It was very kind of inquiry based. Loads of it was outside, Bill, very play based. And we walked along a journey with parents to share the thinking behind the pedagogy behind what we were doing. Actually, it's brilliant that Samira's here, because you'll know, Samira, that I'm sharing what we did at Bangkok Patana, and would love your take on that in the chat as well. But, that created something much more meaningful and rich. And our wondering now that we keep coming back to is, let's not let that go. How can we come back to it? What did we learn from that we can now keep and apply in our settings? So just one small example was recognizing how well siblings learnt together, of obviously different age groups, and how they supported one another. And a reception child wanted to learn their year 2 brother's learning and vice versa, and how powerful that is, and how can we make more space for that in our settings. So I still, I kind of feel like we're coming out of a crisis still, and there's still a lot of firefighting, but I've got a lot of hope for creativity if we can just come back to the richness of what we learned from online learning.